The fate of Regular Show might be one of the saddest tales of Cartoon Network's history. It all began in 2009. Cartoon Network was in a rough spot. They started producing a ton of very high-quality animated shows, which all ended up getting canceled as they just didn't make enough money from toy sales. Then, Cartoon Network decided to shake things up and start producing live-action shows, which failed far more miserably. It was at this low point that Cartoon Network was willing to do anything to save the channel. And in the midst of this chaos, several shows would pioneer the future of Cartoon Network. This chaotic time birthed classics like Adventure Time, The Amazing World of Gumball, and by far the most shocking choice of them all, Regular Show. It was by far the most shocking cartoon at the time. It was a very different show from the rest being submitted. When you look at the cartoons being made at the time, they are all very colorful and chaotic, while Regular Show was very regular. The show stars a blue jay named Mordecai and a raccoon named Rigby, who go about their day-to-day lives working as groundkeepers for a park. Of course, they get into all sorts of trouble, leading to some very odd scenarios, but despite this, the show had a very mundane feeling to it. A style that you don't see often in kids shows, and that's partially due to the fact that Regular Show wasn't made with the idea of it being a kids show. A lot of concepts for Regular Show was originally from the creators' college projects. J.G. Quintal made two short films, one called The Naive Man from Lollyland, and the other called 2 in the AM/PM. These shorts are definitely not at all appropriate for kids, and they'd rather fit much more with the creator's more recent series, Close Enough. But what's important to note is that despite the subject's matter being toned down for younger audiences, the overall writing and tone of the initial concepts remained. It's important to recognize this background information as it really emphasizes the uniqueness of Regular Show, not just in the overall tone of the show, mind you. The fact that it's a kids show also adds to its charm. When it came to the creator's other series, Close Enough, the creator really has no restrictions when it comes to the story. They're free to explore such adult themes however they so choose. Meanwhile, Regular Show didn't have such freedom, as its subject matter just had to keep in line with its younger viewers. And I feel those restrictions actually helped the show greatly. Under normal circumstances, you might see such creative restrictions as a bad thing, but having to work around such limitations can actually give you a unique view that you wouldn't have had otherwise. One famous example of this, and my personal favorite, is with the show Ed, Edd n Eddy. The show's creator, Danny Antonucci, only had headed some edgy and gory cartoons up to that point. When he was dared to make a children's show, he had to strip away the conventions of his past series and view the project from a new angle. But this would then birth an unforgettable masterpiece that wouldn't have existed in any other circumstance. And it's the reason why I feel Regular Show was as special as it ended up being. And it's this uniqueness that ended up being the show's downfall too. There's no doubt this show had a big following, enough to last 8 seasons and get its own made-for-TV movie. It also had quite a bit of merchandising, even getting some of its own video games. But despite its popularity, Cartoon Network just kept pushing the show further and further out of the way. So much so that by the end, the show went out on a whimper. For the series finale, the show received no fanfare, no marathon of episodes leading to the finale. Instead, the episode just aired during a random time slot, and that was it. Quite literally, in fact, as the finale was the last episode of Regular Show to air on the channel, but no reruns aired after its end. That is the tragedy of Regular Show. It's important to reflect on the history of the show to really appreciate everything the show did. But now we must take a step back to the show's peak in popularity. The crucial point in time before Cartoon Network abandoned Regular Show. At this time, we got the Regular Show movie. This was a true testament to the popularity of the show on the network. It wouldn't be until several years later that shows like The Amazing World of Gumball or Steven Universe would get their own movies. And it doesn't seem like the movie contributed to Cartoon Network abandoning the show. It received fairly positive reviews, had a huge viewer turnout, and it was loved by kids and adults alike. So, with that said, I believe it's time to see what the movie did so right, and if it really deserved to be the beginning of the end for the series. Without further ado, let's get started. This is Regular Show, the movie. Our movie begins in the distant future, where we see future counterparts of our main characters fighting an intergalactic armada. They break into a spacecraft in order to break an artifact called the Temporal Crystal. Oh yeah, you know who else likes letting their guard down just to make a joke? They get ambushed, as it's revealed that one of their friends ends up betraying them, joining the side of some guy named Ross. He plans on using a weapon called the Time-Nado to erase all of time, and he claims Mordecai and Rigby were the ones who created it. Rigby escapes, planning to go back in time to stop the Time-Nado's creation, but he gets fatally wounded by Mordecai before making the jump. We cut ahead to the present, where Mordecai and Rigby are racing against time to make it to work. They narrowly avoid being fired! And it just seems like it's going to be another ordinary day. But just as they start contemplating their futures, a mysterious spacecraft crashes into the park. The pilot is Rigby from the future, who warns them of their impending doom. He even reveals who the culprit is for his fatal injury.
Who shot you? Him! You shot me?
You know who else shot Rigby? My mom! He pleads for them to take his ship and stop the Time-Nado from being created before passing away. The group gathers everything they need while Rigby gives his future counterpart a proper rest.
Things are going great, and they're only getting better.
Never pass out when there's markers about.
The group travels back to the past, where Rigby and Mordecai are still high school students. And you gotta love how very non-caring this part of the episode is written. They know how overused this kind of plot is. They just go all in, making it as generic as possible. They hit every single beat.
Hey dude, I heard they started sending out letters for College U. Do you think we got in?
You cost us the game, state championship ruiner!
Dude, it was an accident.
From the second that theme plays, to the exposition bullies, to just flat out college university, the whole segment is just such a treat. But yeah, as it turns out, Rigby is very hated at the school for ruining a very important volleyball match with one of his stunts. To make matters worse, Rigby is on the verge of not graduating due to his failing science grade, and of course, his science teacher just also happens to be the school's volleyball coach. But this clearly level-headed guy is willing to let Rigby earn some extra credit, and we know he's clearly sane as he spent all of his free time working on a time machine purely for the sake of revenge.
You're the coolest, Mr. Rod.
You'd probably change your mind if you knew who I was getting revenge on.
Meanwhile, present-day Mordecai and Rigby go to steal the science lab keys from their past selves, while Skips and Muscle Man watch over the ship.
Foreign geeks identified. Identity probing engaged.
Meanwhile, Mordecai and Rigby are just chilling out at an arcade when two mysterious strangers call dibs on the next turn. It turns out to be Mordecai and Rigby from the future, who say they're there to help Rigby with the science project, but they need proof they are who they say they are.
If you're really us from the future, what's on the back of his deck?
Oh, a dumb drawing of our made-up character.
Whoa!
With the project finished, all that's left is for Mordecai and Rigby to complete their mission.
Ready?
Ready.
Universe saved!
In the pecking order of the African bush, there are winners and losers. The journey to become king isn't an easy one.
Hey, bye! You know who else likes hunting antelope in the nude? Oh! As it turns out, past Muscle Man stole the ship so he could crash it into a giant pit. So Muscle Man and Skips race to stop him, leading to the ultimate showdown.
What do you think you're doing, bro? Huh? What the? Our power levels are equal, bro. You had no hope of winning. Yeah, but there's one thing you didn't count on. What's that?
They rescue the ship and, yeah, everything seems to have wrapped up. The time machine is destroyed, Mordecai and Rigby will both graduate, and the spaceships have been repaired. So, why is there still 30 minutes left in the runtime? It's at this point that we learn the truth. Rigby was never accepted into college university. So, in his moment of weakness, he forged a letter stating Mordecai wasn't accepted either. This, in turn, gives the duo the idea to finish Ross's time machine so that they can help their past selves pass together. More time portals started popping up as future Ross replaced the broken time machine, allowing the chain of events to continue as planned. The group heads to the school where future Mordecai and Ross block their way.
They can't stop all of us! Come on!
So easy. You know what else is easy? My mom.
Sadly, they're too late. As the Time Needle gets created, to add the cherry on top, Ross forces Rigby to confess his secret to everyone. And thus, he reads his college admittance letter, which is hilariously heartbreaking.
We regret to inform you that you have not been accepted into this fall's freshman class, though our school motto is the college for everyone. Sometimes college isn't for everyone. The admissions committee simply could not find any reason to include you in our enrolling class. We hope you can understand our situation, if you can understand this letter at all.
So, yeah, what Rigby did was really terrible. But after hearing this letter, it's not hard to feel sorry for him. It's such an unbelievably harsh letter, but Rigby's confession seems to reach future Mordecai as he sacrifices his life to save them from Ross's bomb. He tells present Mordecai to cherish his friendship, that in the long run, friendship is more important than career.
Dude, did we just die, dude? Yeah, dude.
Meanwhile, Rigby runs off, ashamed of his actions. He plans on driving himself into the sun, but the ship autopilots itself to the nearest space gas station. There, Rigby meets Father Time, who could be in better shape. He reveals that Rigby's friends have joined the interstellar war against Ross, and Rigby rushes in to save them. He meets up with Mordecai to make amends and to set right all of the mistakes he had made.
I'm tired of you always fixing my problems. This time, I'm going to fix it.
No!
So if you could get Benson to make a sweet bronze statue of me to put at the front of the park, that'd be really cool.
And that was the regular show movie in another timeline. Ross interrupts the reunion, but a clean sweep to the head finally takes him out for good. Mordecai and Rigby blow up the temporal crystal and flee with the other, destroying the Time NATO and saving the flow of time. Rigby in the past apologizes for his actions, causing Ross to drop his revenge plans. The future Mordecai and Rigby are reunited once more before fading away. And the present Mordecai and Rigby will never be late for work again. And that was Regular Show, the movie. Still, it's such a fun movie that is packed full of Regular Show charm. One problem I used to have with this movie is that, as far as the plot goes, it didn't seem like movie material. By this point in the show, they've already tackled quite a bit of universal threats, some of which already are time-related. So for the longest time, I felt that the movie could have gone bigger than what it was. But as I rewatched it, I realized that I really missed the point of it all. What separates this movie from the other episodes in the show is that this felt very personal. The universe-ending plot really only served as a setting for Mordecai and Rigby restoring their friendship. It was a journey to see these characters mature and to be given a fresh new start. In that sense, this really was the perfect movie, in that it's perfect for fans of the show and newcomers alike. For newcomers, you have the big-time plot and the fun charm of regular show. For existing fans, you have a lot of neat fan service alongside the plot that explores the characters we already love. If I had any other complaint, I guess I feel as though the movie's a little too short. The runtime is only an hour long, but don't get me wrong, the movie's still perfectly fine with its runtime. But when you like something a lot, naturally, you just want more of it. So my desire for a longer runtime is just a reflection of how much I really enjoyed this movie. And I would highly recommend it, whether you're new to the series or if it's been a while since you've seen it. It's such a fun time that makes me want to revisit the entire series again. Well, I think that's good enough to end off on. If you enjoyed this review, then be sure to like and subscribe as it helps support the content we make. Thanks for watching.
Initializing ultra sucking mode.
Oh yeah! You know who else has an ultra sucking mode? My mom!